The lights of New York City blazed brighter than ever. The bustling streets of Flushing Meadows, usually filled with the quiet hum of tennis preparation, had become a sea of red, white, blue, and yellow. Thousands of Philippine flags waved in the warm, August air. The chants of Laban, Alex, echoed through the grounds of the USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center. Alexandra Eala had arrived in the Big Apple. But this wasn't just any arrival. This wasn't just another tournament. This was a celebration, a homecoming, a moment that would be remembered long after the final point of the U.S. Open was played. Because on August 23, 2026, Alex Eala turned 21 years old, and she celebrated her birthday in the most spectacular way imaginable, surrounded by VIP guests, adoring fans, and the energy of a city that had embraced her as one of its own. The Filipina sensation, fresh off a historic season that had seen her climb to a career-high world no. 20 ranking, had just landed in New York for the U.S. Open. She was about to become the highest-seeded Filipino singles player in a Grand Slam in history. She had secured a wild card into the mixed doubles draw alongside world number 4 Felix Auger-Aliassime. She was about to compete in the prestigious stars of the Open exhibition under the lights of Arthur Ashe Stadium, but before any of that, she had a birthday to celebrate. And the tennis world was about to witness something extraordinary. Welcome to the story of a champion's birthday celebration, a city's embrace, and a young woman who proved that she is loved not just for her tennis, but for the hope and inspiration she represents. August 22nd, 2026. New York City. John F. Kennedy International Airport. The private terminal had been transformed into a media frenzy. Reporters from around the world had gathered, their cameras ready, their questions prepared. But nothing could have prepared them for the scene that was about to unfold. Alexandra Eala stepped off the private jet, her Nike Court U.S. Open outfit already making headlines. The striking blue dress, with its basketball-inspired mesh detailing, was a statement, a declaration that she had arrived. She posted on social media, simply saying, "Coming for you, New York." But it wasn't just her arrival that had everyone talking. It was the welcome she received. Thousands of Filipino fans had gathered outside the terminal, their flags waving proudly, their chants of Laban, Alex, echoing through the humid air. The scenes were reminiscent of what had happened in Toronto, where the 12,500-seat SoBi Stadium had been packed with Filipino fans cheering loudly for Eala. They were reminiscent of what had happened in Washington, where tournament chairman Mark Ein had revealed that at least 80% of ticket requests were about one player, Alex Eala. They were reminiscent of what had happened in Cincinnati, where ticket prices had surged by nearly 70 overnight just to watch her play. And now, New York was getting its own taste of the Eala effect. Eala Mania has continued in New York with the supporters coming in their numbers to follow her, one report noted. This has been shown with multiple security guards having to guide her through a wave of fans filming the talented tennis player with their phones and cheering. Eala raised her hands in a positive gesture, thanking the fans for the support she was becoming very much accustomed to. She had been a trailblazer for tennis in Southeast Asia, especially her native Philippines, which had started following the sport much more with her arrival, proving a pivotal factor. The fans had turned out in huge numbers, and the birthday celebration had only just begun. August 23, 2026. New York City. Alex Eala turned 21 years old. It was a milestone birthday, a moment to reflect on how far she had come, to celebrate her achievements, and to look forward to the future. And Eala celebrated it in style. The day before, in Paris, she had celebrated her 21st birthday with friends, posting a TikTok video featuring the Eiffel Tower in the background with the simple caption, "I'm 21. Now, in New York, the celebration continued on an even grander scale. The tennis world took notice. Fans from around the world flooded social media with birthday wishes. The hashtag Happy Birthday Alex Eala began trending. The Philippine flag emoji appeared everywhere. But it was the reaction of the fans in New York that truly captured the moment. Eala Mania had arrived in full force. At Flushing Meadows, the scene was nothing short of extraordinary. A huge crowd had gathered around her, as she wandered through the grounds. Security guards had to form a shield around her as she made her way through the sea of supporters. Fans reached out to touch her, to take photos, to be part of the moment. "I've never seen anything like this," one fan told reporters. "She's not just a tennis player. She's our champion. She's representing all of us." Even Felix Auger-Aliassime, Eala's mixed doubles partner at the U.S. Open, had joked about experiencing the Eala effect firsthand. "It is a great opportunity because I did not play last year, but this time around to feel what it's like to have the Eala effect and fan base behind me is going to be funny," he said. "She is younger than me, but she has the fan base. She is carrying the crowd." The birthday celebration was a testament to the bond Eala had built with her fans. It wasn't just about her tennis achievements. It was about the hope and inspiration she represented. It was about the pride she had brought to the Philippines. "I take so much pride in representing my country," she had said. "It makes what I do bigger than myself, and it adds meaning to what I do." Now, that meaning was being celebrated in the biggest city in the world. Alex Eala's birthday celebration in New York was a recognition of everything she had achieved and everything she was yet to achieve. The 21-year-old had already accomplished more than most players do in a lifetime. She had become the highest-ranked Filipino player in WTA history. She had won her first WTA Tour Singles title at the Mubadala DC Open in Washington. She had reached the fourth round at Wimbledon, stunning defending champion Iga Swiatek on center court. She had climbed to a career-high world number 20 ranking. She had become the first Filipino, indeed the first Southeast Asian, to win a WTA Tour Singles crown. She had become the first Filipino to reach the second week of a Grand Slam in the Open era. She had become the first Filipino to be seeded in a Grand Slam singles draw. And she was just getting started. At the U.S. Open, Eala was projected to enter the women's singles main draw as the highest-seeded Filipino singles player in a Grand Slam in history. With Victoria Mboko of Canada sidelined due to injury, Eala's seeding could be even higher than her number 18 ranking. She had also secured a wild card into the mixed doubles draw alongside world number 4 Felix Auger-Aliassime. The pairing had instantly become one of the most anticipated partnerships of the tournament. She was about to compete in the prestigious stars of the Open exhibition under the lights of Arthur Ashe Stadium. Eala has been a trailblazer for tennis in Southeast Asia, one report noted. Her native Philippines has started following the sport much more with her arrival, proving a pivotal factor. The numbers told the story. At the Australian Open, Eala's press conference drew nearly 200,000 viewers, more than Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz combined. In Washington, tournament chairman Mark Ein had revealed that at least 80% of ticket requests were about her. In Toronto, every match she played sold out in advance. In Cincinnati, ticket prices surged by nearly 70% overnight. The phenomenon was so intense that it was dubbed Eala Mania. And on her 21st birthday, New York was experiencing it firsthand. As Eala celebrated her 21st birthday in New York, the tennis world was reminded of the friendships she had built along the way. Just 3 months earlier, Eala had celebrated her 21st birthday in Paris ahead of the French Open. In a heartwarming moment captured on video, her fellow WTA players, Iva Jovic, Eva Lys, and Zeynep Sonmez, surprised her with a birthday cake after a practice session at Roland Garros. Iva Jovic, Eva Lys, and Zeynep Sonmez surprised Eala after her practice session at the French Open in Paris, France. The trio brought out a small cake with a candle, catching Eala off guard and adding a special moment to her preparations. The moment was captured and shared widely on social media. Fans around the world were moved by the sight of these young players, rivals on the court, but friends off it, coming together to celebrate a special occasion. Friendship will briefly be set aside, however, as Eala and Jovic are set to face each other in the first round of the French Open on Monday. But that friendship had endured. Now, in New York, Eala and Jovic were set to face each other again, this time in the stars of the Open exhibition on August 27th. The bond between the two young stars was a reminder that tennis is more than just competition. It's about community. It's about the connections that are forged through shared experiences. It's about the friendships that transcend the sport. I'm so grateful to have friends like them on tour, Eala had said of her fellow players. It makes the journey so much more meaningful. Now, in New York, she was surrounded by friends, family, and fans as she celebrated her 21st birthday. The story of Eala's birthday celebration in New York was not just about VIP guests and fanfare. It was about the people who had supported her from the very beginning, the thousands of fans who had traveled from across the United States, from Canada, from the Philippines itself, to be part of her journey. The fans have turned out in huge numbers, one report noted. Security guards have had to guide her through a wave of fans filming the talented tennis player with their phones and cheering. The scenes were reminiscent of what had happened in Toronto, where superfans dressed as Raptors filled the stands as a nod to the NBA team. They were reminiscent of what had happened in Cincinnati, where the 11,614-seat center court was packed with Philippine flags. They were reminiscent of what had happened at the Australian Open, where hundreds of fans had been turned away from her matches on Court 6. "I've never seen anything like this," one fan told reporters. "She's not just a tennis player. She's our champion. She's representing all of us." The fans were not just passive observers. They were active participants in the phenomenon that had become Alex Eala. They had turned neutral venues into home courts. They had transformed tennis matches into cultural celebrations. They had given Eala the support she needed to achieve her dreams. And on her 21st birthday, they were showing their love in the most spectacular way possible. Eala Mania has continued in New York, one report noted. The supporters have come in their numbers to follow her. Alex Eala's 21st birthday celebration in New York was more than just a moment. It was a recognition of her status as a global icon, a symbol of hope and inspiration for millions of people around the world. The numbers told the story. She had packed stadiums wherever she went. She had drawn massive crowds, sold out tournaments, and brought new fans to the sport. She had become the WTA's big ticket. Eala Mania had begun at the Australian Open, when long lines of fans wrapped around walkways outside her matches. It had continued in Abu Dhabi, Doha, and Wimbledon. It had reached new heights at the Canadian Open, where every match she played sold out. It had culminated in Cincinnati, where she had done what no player in the history of the tournament had ever done before. She had sold out a final she wasn't even playing in. And now, in New York, it had reached a fever pitch. Eala has been a trailblazer for tennis in Southeast Asia, one report noted. Her native Philippines has started following the sport much more, with her arrival proving a pivotal factor. Eala's legacy was no longer confined to the tennis court. She had become a cultural icon, a symbol of hope and inspiration for millions of people around the world. And her 21st birthday celebration in New York was just the latest chapter in a story that was far from over. From the cracked courts of Quezon City, where tennis was a luxury, to the center courts of New York, where she had become the biggest draw in women's tennis, Alexandra Eala had proven that champions don't just win matches, they move mountains. And on her 21st birthday, the world had shown her just how much she was loved. From the cracked courts of Quezon City to the center courts of New York, where she had become the biggest draw in women's tennis, Alexandra Eala had proven that champions don't just win matches, they move mountains. And on her 21st birthday, the world had shown her just how much she was loved. The VIP guests, the adoring fans, the sea of Philippine flags. It was a celebration of everything she had achieved and everything she was yet to achieve. New York had embraced her. The tennis world was watching. And Alex Eala was just getting started.